وصلش الحال. بصراحة أنا بقلب الأمور ونفس الوقت أنا ما عندي بتنافس يعني بتسلم النصف
Hi, Connie. How are you?
I'm good, Summer. How you doing this morning?
Good. A little cold out there, huh?
Yeah, it is. We didn't get any middle of the road weather. We went from hot to freezing.
Yeah, I hate winter.
Yeah, yeah.
I know my youngest is 13 and she's been waiting for winter. And then the other day she was complaining that she was bored because they were stuck. I'm like, this is what you wanted. You wanted winter.
You went, here we are.
Here it is. Looks like we got a full house quite already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also recording this and then we'll post it on our website.
Okay.
Hi, Meredith. Did you get your email figured out to the correct person? Can you guys all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I don't know how to make it so I can see my screen and you guys. So if somebody has a question, you might just have to interrupt me because I'm not going to see your hand raised.
Summer, let me know when you want to go.
Okay, we'll give it one more minute, Connie.
Okay.
Okay. You can still see my screen, Connie?
Yes.
Okay, I think we're good to go then. It's 10
Okay.
o'clock.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Connie Baker. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Meals on Wheels, Southwest Ohio and Northern Kentucky, and the 5310 Oversight Team Chair. Thanks for being here this morning. As you know, OKI is a designated recipient for the Section 5310 federal funds in our area. They are responsible for managing the program for agencies in Butler, Claremont, Hamilton, and Warren counties in Ohio, and Boone, Campbell, Kenton counties in Kentucky. The workshop today will go over the application process for the 2025 call for projects. So again, welcome, and Summer, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Connie. Welcome everyone. Like I said before, I can't figure out how to see you guys and see my screen. So if anyone has their hand raised, I'm not going to see it. You might just have to chime in and cut me off. You don't have to wait till the end for questions. So just make sure you unmute yourself and then you can chime in with any questions you might have. As Connie said, OKI is the federal agency responsible for the 5310 program here in the Cincinnati urban area. And this is going to be our workshop for the fiscal year 25 call for projects. And I'm sure you guys all are familiar with the 5310 program, or hopefully you are, but the goal is to improve mobility for seniors and individuals with disabilities by removing barriers to transportation services and expanding transportation mobility options. This means to employment centers, the medical appointments, grocery shopping, educational opportunities, a lot of the things that most of us probably take for granted. Doctor's appointments, we're in the process of updating our coordinated plan. And doctor's appointments was probably one of the big ones, getting people to their medical appointments. So this program is to really help remove barriers for seniors and those with disabilities. And if you are awarded funding, all of the applicants must be in our coordinated plan. If you are not in our coordinated plan, don't worry, it doesn't mean you're not eligible. We can amend the plan to add your agency to the agency profile list. As I mentioned, we are in the process of updating the coordinated plan. But that's done every 4 years. So that'll be done in January or February. And then let's say next year we have another call for project and your agency isn't in the plan. We can amend the agency profiles. So that's not a problem at all. So please don't freak out if you are not currently listed in the coordinated plan. And I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm going to clear my throat a lot, and probably cough, and I have a cough drop in my mouth, so I apologize now. The timeline that we're looking at for this year, we're at today, December 5th. This is the application workshop. All applications are going to be due February 5th at noon. And just like in the previous years, it is an online application. You can go to oki.org and it'll be on the homepage, or later I have the whole big direct link that will take you right there. And then in March, the oversight team will review and score all of the applications and then give staff recommendations. And then in either April or May, staff will take those recommendations to our ICC and board for their approval. And then it goes into an FTA grant for review. And then FTA does not approve it until the fall. And then I'll be working with those who are awarded in the winter of 2025 to get subrecipient agreements executed. So that is the timeline for this year. I would like to point out next year, our timeline is going to be moving up a couple months to align with the FTA's timeline. This year and in the past years, we've had the workshop in December. We will be having the workshop in October of next year with applications due in mid-December. So please keep that in mind. For the next call for projects, we will be moving up the timeline about 2.5 months just to coincide with FTA's timeline. It's something that they've been asking us to do. Excuse me. I would like to give a huge shout out to our 5310 oversight team. Connie Baker is our chair. With Meals on Wheels, you'll see here we have a variety of agencies on our team, and they put a lot of work into this effort. We review all the applications, they review them independently, and then we meet and we go through and we discuss them as a team, and we review and rank them. And in the years past, it has been a much more competitive process. Years ago, before I was involved in the program, I remember Travis saying that he would have extra money left over and would be like begging agencies like, hey, do you need another vehicle? And that's not the case anymore. These are competitive funds. So please do your due diligence when filling out the application. And yeah, make sure you fill out all the sections. And again, these funds are competitive. Eligible applicants for these funds. I don't think I see any new faces on here, so I don't think that this is anything new, but a private nonprofit organization, private operators of public transportation, state or local government authorities, or our transit authorities are all eligible to apply for these funds. Now, there are two different types of eligible activities for 5310 funds. There's the traditional funds, which have to be at least 55% of our allocation, which is usually not a problem because the traditional funds include buses and vehicles, which are quite a hefty price tag anymore. After COVID, the prices have significantly gone up. And that also include passenger facilities such as benches and shelters, mobility management programs. I have that highlighted still because about 2 years ago, our oversight team decided that mobility management program administration costs were really meant to just be used as a pilot and a startup, a way to get the agency going. So the mobility management program administration, that is limited to 3 years. So that's going to be paying for like staff time. So if you have received program management or program administration funds in the past, please keep in mind that there is a 3-year limit. And once you reach those 3 years, you're no longer eligible to apply for that. But you can apply for buses, you can apply for travel training, all these other things. You just cannot receive mobility management administration funds. And then we have our non-traditional eligible activities, which include travel training and volunteer driver programs. Cincinnati Area Blind for Visually Impaired, they have a great travel training program. I don't think a lot of people were there in attendance, but we toured their facility once at a TIOP meeting, and they have a great travel training program. So that's a non-traditional. example, building an accessible path to a bus stop, including curb cutouts or sidewalks. But again, this has to be eligible to everyone. It just can't be like on private property. Improving signage or wayfinding, and incremental cost to providing same-day service, and purchasing vehicles to support a ride sharing. So that is different than like the big vehicles that we purchase. So I will say that the majority of our funds have been used in the traditional. And like I said, the cost of the vehicles have gone up significantly. And if you're not sure if your project is eligible or if you're even eligible to apply, please reach out to me. My information will be at the end. We get funding under the FAST Act, and in the past we've received 2.1 million. We won't know until the spring what we're allotted. So we kind of go with the assumption that we're going to get 2.1. I don't expect that to change, but again, we never know, but that's the assumption we're going with. We do have approximately $330,000 in carryover from the last call for projects that we will add into this 2.1 million. However, I will need some of that money to pay for vehicle cost overruns for this last round of applications. So a little over 2.1 million available we'll have. And like I said, the 5310 oversight team will review all of the applications and we score them. And then we kind of just go down the list from the scoring. I would like to point out that these are reimbursable funds and they do require 20% local match. And in your application, I need to know where the local match is coming from. These are federal funds, so federal cannot be matched with federal. So you need to tell me if it's coming from your general operating budget, if it's a donation, if it's coming from a levy. And again, these are reimbursable funds, except when purchasing the big vehicles. With those, we require you to send us the 20% first, and then we go ahead and once we receive that and all the other signed paperwork, then we purchase the vehicles. Lots of vehicles available. Since that seems to be our most popular thing anymore. You do have to purchase a vehicle from the ODOT statewide contract. And there are modified minivans, there's accessible vans, gas and electric, and there's a variety of light transit vehicles available. ODOT has a catalog selection guide that you can refer to get more information. But I'm going to be honest, the best source for these vehicles are the vendors. Last year we had them in person. This year, I decided to go totally virtual because we are right across from Sawyer Point where the big fire was on the bridge. So our parking is a little tight, and I'm glad we didn't because today it's freezing cold out and no one would want to go outside and look at any vehicles. But if you're interested in any of these vehicles and you need more information about it, we'll get to the cost sheets in a little bit, but they all have a sales rep's name and phone number. Please call them. They will walk through the layout of the vehicle, and they even have some that you can look at. But they are going to be your best reference.
Hey, Summer, Amy Hoopy has
Yeah.
a question. She has her hand raised.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Brett. Hi, Amy.
Hi, what is a light transit vehicle?
It's a bigger bus. So, they're the big buses, but the light transit vehicle, then from there, it can be a light transit narrow, so they're more narrow. It can be a light transit low, so the floor is low to the ground. And then there's light transit steel versus a honeycomb. So they're the bigger buses, Amy. So if you're transporting large groups,
Okay, thank you.
you would be wanting the LTVs.
Okay,
And in those LTVs, like I said, there's a slew of options. You can have narrow, you can have low, you can have fiberglass, you can have honeycomb. Again, if you want a big bus and you're not sure where to start, contact the vendors. And Connie, you guys have several LTVs, don't you?
We do. And
Yeah.
they're the bigger, so they're the 18.2s, and they're also go down to like the 12.2s. So there's a seating range there.
Yeah, you
Um,
can arrange it to see how many wheelchairs you want to make fit in there and everything. So Amy, I would encourage you to look at the cost sheets that we're going to get up on and the ODOT manual that kind of explains all the buses in more detail. And I'd be happy to talk with you about them. The modified minivans, they seem to be one of our most popular options. There are 2 vendors that are on the ODOT list, Bronability and BSI. The base cost starts at approximately $71,000. Remember, this is an 80-20 split, so you would be responsible for 20%. We pay 80%. This is just the base cost. As you'll see when we get to the pricing sheets, you can add on a lot of various options that will increase your price. So when you'll see when we get to the cost sheets, they'll be listed on the website, and then there's tabs at the bottom. So you can click and then you can decide who you want to go with, Bronability or Bus Services Incorporated. They have different pricing. You don't have to go with the lowest. If you've worked with one vendor in the past and you're happy with them every day other, you can use whoever you want. We do not make you choose the lowest vendor. It's your decision. And some of them do have different options. The accessible vans, these are our AVs. These are the gasoline ones. Again, base cost starts at approximately $71,000. As you can see to the right, there's lots of configurations. This is where working with the vendors is very, very important. So you would need to make sure that you work with the vendor to submit your cost sheet with your application, because we need the best cost estimate available. So if you don't have the layout right, the cost is going to change. There are 4 vendors for the accessible vans gasoline. Not new this year. They were new last year, but no one did purchase them. Are the accessible vans electric? These are higher. The base cost is $92,000. Again, we do an 80-20 split. A couple things I would like to point out with the accessible vans electric is within the scoring criteria, there is a technology point worth 5 points. And if you do get an electric vehicle, you will automatically score the extra 5 bonus points. But an important factor to remember when looking at electric vehicles is the weight. The current battery and the battery supporting systems are both heavy. And because of that, the manufacturers have to be mindful of how many seats and wheelchair positions they're putting into the vans. ODOT has specs that allow for the vehicle to weigh properly while performing just as a gasoline van would. So they have to build it to ODOT specs. So you might want to go to electric, but it might not fit your needs. So again, check with your vendor. Again, it has to be a certain weight, it has to meet the ODOT specs. So again, I encourage you to check with your vendor when looking at these vehicles. And then Amy, here are our light transit vehicles. As you can see, these are the bigger buses. Their costs range anywhere from $104,000 to $208,000. Again, many different configurations. You can have an 18-passenger van with 4 wheelchair accessible seats. It just depends. And these are just the base prices. You can add things on there. As I mentioned, Brett Porter here at OKI is in the process of updating the coordinated plan. The last one was approved in 2020. The next one will be approved in either January or February of next year. But the coordinated plan is a unified, comprehensive strategy for public transportation service delivery that identifies the transportation needs of seniors and individuals with disabilities. And it lays out strategies for meeting those needs and prioritizes services for those target populations. You can see here, and we're still going off of this plan for this round of applications, but the identified gaps and needs, as you can see, I'm not going to read them all, but an inadequate number and variety of destination trips, limited collaboration of service providers, unaffordable fares. So these are the gaps and the needs that the 2020 coordinated plan has identified. And I don't think you're going to see much change in the new updated plan. Again, with the coordinated plan strategies to improve transportation is to expand transportation availability to target populations throughout the region. More coordination among providers. I think you guys already do a great job. The more can always be better. Better serve people who use wheelchairs or need physical assistance. Increase the transportation services for late night and weekends and increase the types of destinations, making fares more affordable, better service target populations to travel to and from job. This year, we're hearing more medical than job. So that is a change, and to integrate new technologies that improve mobility service accessibility and or reduce operating costs. So here are the scoring criterias of how your applications will be scored. As I said, I do not even score the applications. I will lead the 5310 oversight team group in a discussion, but I myself do not score them. Each agency scores them, and then we take an average, and then we go down the list and see how many agencies we can fund. Filling the gaps in service to target populations, which is listed in the applications that we just went over. There's a range from 0 to 15 points. Undertaking coordinated plan strategies, range 0 to 15. How well your project serves the target populations. And coordination efforts. This is worth the most points at 25. We really like to see coordination efforts, and we don't want to see any duplication in services. So if you're applying for a project that somebody else is already doing or covering that area, we don't want to see that. So we really want to see coordination and no duplication of services. And project sustainability is worth 0 to 15 points. Again, you need a sustainability plan for your program. We don't know what our money is going to be from year to year. We don't want you to get started on something and then not be able to sustain that program because there's not enough money or because you weren't funded that year. The quantification of anticipated benefits, how many people you're going to be reaching, the number of trips you're going to be taking, things like that. And then technology is worth 5 points. And again, if you're getting an electric vehicle, that automatically gives you the 5 points right there. Again, same as last year. This is all online. We made the change last year. Well, we finally figured out how you can save it. So that is a good thing. So you can save your work and then stop and then go back to it. If you save it, it's going to email you a link. Please, please, please copy that link just in case you don't get an email because we don't have access to that link. So if you save it, it's automatically going to come up with a link. I encourage you to copy that and save it somewhere else because if you don't get an email with that link, I have no way to get it back for you. So again, I encourage you to save that link. And for those who are used to this, you know that there are a slew of attachments with these applications. And I would encourage you to upload the attachments at the end, right before you're getting ready to submit. Because if you start your application and you go ahead and you upload all your attachments and then you go to save, unfortunately, your attachments don't save. So you have to then reload everything. So don't load your attachments until the very end. And we'll go over what those attachments are. The first attachment would be A, which is a letter from your transit authority. saying that there is unavailable or insufficient or inappropriate transit in your area. This is required. Again, if you don't work with your transit agency, there's no coordination effort. And your application's just not, it's not going to score well at all. So please work with your transit agencies, get that letter saying that there's insufficient or unavailable transit. The second attachment is your single audit or a financial statement if your agency has received no more than $750,000 in federal funds. This is just to make sure that we know that you're on sound standing financially. Attachment C is an organizational chart. These are things that you guys will be providing. This isn't something that you'll find on our website. Attachment D is a certification of project derived from the coordinated plan that's saying that your project is in the plan. Again, if it's not, don't worry. It doesn't mean you're not eligible. We can amend the plan. Attachment E is letters from coordinating agencies. Again, we're all about collaboration here, and we want to see agencies working with each other. So please attach any letters from any other agencies that you work with to know that there is some communication and collaboration going on, so we're not duplicating services. Attachment F is the certification of the local match and the budget. That's going to lay out exactly what you're asking for. Are you asking for a modified minivan? What's the cost of that? You would have to attach the cost sheet as well. Or are you asking for travel training? What's the cost of that? And then you're going to sign it and say, yes, we do have the local match should we be awarded funds. And then if you are applying for any vehicles, you will have to attach the vehicle cost worksheets, which will all be online. You can see we have the minivans, the LTVs, the AVs. So attach those to your vehicle cost estimate. See here, here's the vehicle cost estimate. As you can see, this is an old one, so the price hasn't been updated. This is for an MMV. So the base price starts at $70,993. You can add on a center fold seat, an oxygen tank. This one doesn't have a lot of add-on options, but other ones do. So then that's going to give you the total cost, your federal share, and then your local share. Again, I can't stress enough to work with the vendors when you're figuring out what vehicles you need and the layout of the vehicles. Preventative maintenance, new this year. Excuse me. In the past, we have always awarded 5 years for vehicle maintenance. They have to be used on vehicles that were purchased with 5310 funds. New this year, per the FTA regs, there is a 2-year limit. And I'm still kind of learning this myself because it's something that I'm not used to with federal funds. Basically, you would be applying for funds for the immediately preceding year and or the current year. So if you're applying for preventative maintenance, the applications are due in 2025. You would be applying for reimbursement of the 2024 funds that you used for preventative maintenance and then the future 2025 funds. So in order to do that, you would have to make sure that you have all your receipts and everything for 2024. I know this is new. This has actually been an FTA regulation for years. And somehow Travis sneakily got by it and they allowed it. But they're really cracking down on a lot of things, and preventative maintenance is one of them. So it is a 2-year limit, and it's the immediately preceding year and then the current year. So 2 years. And then attachment I is your Title VI data collection form. That's online. You can complete the form with the data on your clients. And then the Title VI is attachment J. Every agency should have a Title VI if you're receiving any kind of federal funds, you have this. You probably just don't know you do. But you have to upload that as well. And as I mentioned, FTA is really cracking down on a lot of things. Preventative maintenance being one. They don't want to keep a grant open for 5 years, which is totally understandable. That's why they've limited it to 2. We've moved the timeline up, and also the amendments. Before, we've been pretty lenient where if you put an application in for software and you really needed to change it, and you needed it to pay for program administration or something like that, we could do an amendment and switch money around. FTA is really coming down on us for those. So we are not going to be as likely to do that anymore. So please make sure when you fill out your applications that you're budgeting properly and you're making sure you're asking for exactly what you need. If you ask for software, it has to be software, because every item that you're asking is aligned to an ALI code and trams. I'm getting way more than you guys need. But it all has to match that, and FTA does not like when we go around and switching all the funds. So please,
There's a question in the chat.
yeah. Okay, I can't see it. Can somebody read it to me?
Yeah, Summer,
Here, I can just ask it. It was from me. This is kind of going back to the preventative maintenance. So do we have to now apply for the preventative maintenance at the same time we're applying for the vehicle we're applying for?
No, you don't have to.
Well, but I mean,
you
like,
can't-
or do we wait the next year? Because, like, for instance, if I'm applying for a grant for one of the vehicles this year, it's probably going to take a year to get it. Do we wait and apply for the preventative maintenance the next year?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so if you're applying for a new vehicle,
Yeah.
you could, but there's not a chance you would get it. But in that case, then you would get it for the year that you got your vehicle and then the year after. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay,
Like-
so let's say you're applying for a new vehicle and preventative maintenance. And the
For
application is
that
due.
vehicle.
Yes, the application is due in 2025. You're most likely not going to get that vehicle until 2026.
Right.
So then you could apply now for preventative maintenance for 2025 and then 2026.
I guess what I'm asking, does it make more sense to just wait till next December to apply for the preventative maintenance?
Probably yes. Yes.
Okay,
I would
that's-
say if you're asking, yes. Not a guarantee you're gonna get it, but again, I would definitely say yes. FTA just doesn't like to see these grants open for so long. And before, we were awarding preventative maintenance for 5 years, which means the grant has to stay open that long, and they don't like that. But you can also apply for preventative maintenance like Connie. They have a ton of 5310 vehicles. They can apply for preventative maintenance for those vehicles that have already been purchased. And they would be applying for this past 2024 reimbursement funds and then the new 2025 preventative maintenance costs.
So,
But I would say yes, if you're applying for a new vehicle, I would wait to apply for preventative maintenance.
well, so this brings up another question. For a vehicle we haven't gotten yet, we were awarded preventative maintenance for 5 years last year that hasn't even started yet. So that is still valid.
That is still valid.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right.
That
Thank
is still
you.
valid. Nothing will change with that. It's just moving forward. Yes. So if
Okay.
you've been awarded for preventative maintenance, thank you for pointing that out because that is important. Nothing's changed. You still have your 5 years on maintenance. They just want
Okay.
us moving forward to limit it to 2 years.
Got it.
Again, like I said, they're just, FTA is just, they have a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to work with them and be as helpful and have a great partnership as possible so we can make the Section 5310 program the best that it can be. So I am trying to work with them on a lot of things. So, and that was one of it. And one of it is also really sticking to what was awarded. So not making those budget changes or those amendments. So if you ask for software and you change your mind and you really need it for something else, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make that change. If you can't use it for software, then the pot of money is just going to have to go into the next call for projects. Here is the big long link where you can go for your application. Or as I said, you can just go to oki.org and search 5310. Here is my email and my direct phone number. I will say that email is the best way to reach me versus the phone. We're not always physically in the office. So I would definitely say email is the best way to reach me. But feel free to call me too if you need. Feel free to use the vendors that are listed on the cost sheets for more information on any of the vehicles. And I would also be happy to put you in contact with agencies who have certain type of vehicles so they can tell you what they like, what they don't like, if that is helpful to you. So yeah, applications are due February 5th, was it at noon? Yeah, February 5th at noon. Lots of attachments. I think we've all been through this before. If you haven't, I'm happy to work with you as you go through this process. It seems a little overwhelming, but it's really not. Most of the stuff is already stuff that you have, like your Title VI and your organizational chart. It's really just deciding what you need. Do you need software? Do you need a new bus? Do you need preventative maintenance? And then filling out that cost estimate sheet. And that's what we will go on according to what you're asking. Okay, now I can stop sharing my screen and now I can see everybody. So I am recording this and this will be online. And I'm sorry if I kind of flew through it. I'm just so used to it and I feel like a lot of people on here are as well. So if you're not used to it and I flew through it too fast, let me know. We can schedule a phone call. I'd be happy to help you with anything. There's Patsy, who I was talking about. They have the great travel training program. That was a great tour we did. So are there any questions? None?
I got
Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah, who's speaking?
This is Ed
Hi, Ed.
with Fleet. Are there funds available for equipment like radios? Is that still part of it? I don't know if I missed that or if that wasn't no longer part of purchasing.
What do you mean radios?
Like radios for the vehicles, handheld radio, portable radios. You know, they use to that we use to communicate with dispatch to the drivers.
Yeah, that would be eligible. I thought, yeah, like we do. Some of our agencies have purchased tablets to help with navigation and all that. So that
Okay.
would be an eligible expense, yes.
Okay. And then one other question. Earlier you mentioned under the non-traditional items, it said something about incremental cost of providing same-day service or door-to-door service.
Mm-hmm.
So what does
That
that mean exactly?
that's more like a third-party transportation. So like Cancer Justice Network, they have a contract with Meals on Wheels. And Meals on Wheels will provide transportation to the Cancer Justice Network patients. So then we reimburse them those trip costs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so. So it's like you said, it's more third party.
Yeah, it's like a third party contract.
Okay. I mean, we deliver Meals on Wheels within our own organization too.
Okay, Ed, what organization are you with?
It's Community First. Our
Oh,
department is
okay.
Fleet. Yeah.
Okay, you used to be Partners in Prime, right?
Right. Well, it still is on paper, but yeah.
Okay.
Doing business is the fleet transportation.
Okay.
First fleet
I
needs.
should point out that it drives Brett Porter at OKI crazy that a lot of
Yeah.
agencies go by so many different names when he was working on
Yeah.
these agency profiles. He's
I
like,
can
but this, and I'm
understand.
like, they're the same agency.
We have too many different names. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Community First is the big umbrella basically. And then we have all this stuff under that, and it's all the same, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, radios would be eligible. Just like we've had some agencies ask for backup cameras. Claremont Senior Services, they've gotten tablets. So yeah, those are
Yeah,
all,
we've done tablets in the past. I just didn't know
yeah,
the radio stuff was still on here or not. That was still
yeah,
an option. Okay.
yep.
All right. Thanks.
Again, that would be reimbursable. So once you're approved for the grant, then you would purchase them, send us the invoice, and then we would reimburse you 80%.
Okay.
Summer,
Are
I
there
have a
any other
question.
questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is Amy Hoopy. The presentation that you just did you say that can be found online? Is that on OKI?
Yeah, our person who does the website is out sick with COVID. So
Oh,
I
no.
don't I don't know if it will go on there today, but by next week it should be. But yes, so this recording and the PowerPoint presentation, it will all be online. I would say probably by next week. I wouldn't say this week.
Okay, thank you.
'Tis the season for everyone to be getting sick. Are there any other questions? All right. Well, I thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Connie, for doing the introductions and welcoming everyone. And again, these are great funds, 80-20 split. I would encourage you to start looking at the application. Feel free, email me or call me with any questions. And I look forward to getting all the applications in. All right, everyone. Everyone have a nice holiday and a safe new year. See you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Summer.
you. Bye.